Did you know that in the 1930s, Alaska was basically a giant snow globe? I mean, it was covered in snow, mountains, and endless darkness, and the only way to get around was by plane. There were no roads, no highways, no trains. I mean, people in small towns like Anchorage, Fairbanks, and Juneau were cut off from the rest of the world. And that's when a man named Linnaeus Mac McGee had an idea. He wanted to connect these small towns and bring in the outside world, so he started his own airline, McGee Airways. And at first it was just him and his single-engine plane, the Stinson. But slowly, very slowly, he built up the company. He flew doctors to remote villages, delivered supplies during storms, and rescued miners from their camps in the middle of nowhere. And as the years passed, the airline grew. They flew more planes, hired more pilots, and became known as Alaska Airlines. And although they were still a small company compared to United or Pan Am, they had something those companies didn't have: courage. Because every day the pilots flew into the unknown, they knew that they might not come back. But they did it anyway because the people of Alaska needed them. They needed medicine, they needed doctors, they needed supplies. And so Alaska Airlines became more than just an airline. It became a lifeline. And when World War II hit, Alaska Airlines became a secret weapon. I'm gonna tell you all about it right here on the channel. When the US entered World War II, Alaska became a front line. The Japanese had invaded the Aleutian Islands and the US Army and Navy rushed to defend it. Suddenly, Bush pilots were in high demand. Alaska Airlines was given contracts to fly supplies, soldiers, and equipment to remote US bases. These missions were dangerous. Pilots flew in blackout conditions, through storms, without radar, with enemy submarines lurking below. Many of these flights were top secret and not recorded in the news. But without them, US bases in Alaska would have been cut off. Alaska Airlines also flew rescue missions into dangerous skies to save down pilots and stranded civilians. They flew medical evacuation flights, bringing home wounded soldiers. At the same time, they were investigated by the US government. Officials questioned their finances, their planes, their rapid growth. There were even times when their license was suspended and their rivals thought they had won. But Alaska Airlines refused to disappear. By the late 1940s, the war was over. But Alaska Airlines had changed. They had flown secret missions for the US military, carried critical supplies across dangerous skies, and survived crises that could have destroyed them. But survival had a price. Their planes were worn out, money was short, and powerful US airlines like Pan Am and Northwest wanted Alaska's routes. So Alaska Airlines had to fight another war, this time in business, not on the battlefield. The 1950s and 60s were supposed to be Alaska Airlines' glory days, a time of expansion and opportunity. But it was also an era of disaster. As the airline grew, it took on more debt, crashed more planes, and faced more scrutiny. In 1962, the company president boasted that Alaska Airlines was the fastest-growing airline in the world. And then a DC-3 full of passengers and crew crashed into a mountainside, killing everyone on board. That same year, a blizzard grounded the fleet for 3 days. It was the worst crisis in the airline's history. But there was one thing the airline had going for it. It was flying to more places than anyone else in the world, including more than 40 destinations in Alaska alone. So when the big airlines like Delta, United, and Northwest started encroaching on its territory, Alaska Airlines had a secret weapon, flying charter trips to places no one else could or would go, like Israel, the Vatican, and even war zones. Suddenly, Alaska Airlines was in the headlines for all the right reasons. By the 1970s, it was finally seen as a serious carrier, not just a Bush outfit. But as oil prices soared and competition grew, the question hung in the air: how long could Alaska Airlines survive? This airline is not like others. It's Alaska Airlines. The 1980s changed everything. Under strong leadership, Alaska Airlines grew from a small regional airline to a national one. It took on new routes, new planes, and a new crew. They set out to build a reputation for service, courage, and innovation. From Seattle, they expanded to California and across the United States. New jets replaced the old fleet. On-time flights and friendly service became their trademark. But challenges never stopped. There were strikes, accidents, and even financial scares. The most tragic was the crash of Alaska Airlines, Flight 261 in 2000. It shocked the nation and almost destroyed public trust. But Alaska Airlines faced it head-on and rebuilt that trust. Instead of vanishing like so many old airlines, Alaska Airlines rose higher. By the 2010s, it had become one of America's most respected carriers. In 2016, it even bought Virgin America, expanding its routes from New York to Los Angeles, from Miami to Seattle, and across the U.S. Today, Alaska Airlines is more than a company. It is a story of survival against storms, wars, crashes, and rivals. It is a story of secret missions, daring pilots, and leaders who refuse to quit. The secret of Alaska Airlines is simple. It never gave up. While other airlines disappeared into history, Alaska kept flying. From frozen rivers in the 1930s to modern airports in the 21st century, it carried more than passengers. It carried the spirit of America's last frontier. This is why Alaska Airlines is not just another airline. It is a living legend,